Hello everyone, I am Koder Singh and today we will be talking about room, live data and view model. So we're gonna create a new project, a very basic thing we're gonna make, room, live data and view model. And just make sure you include the Kotlin support and next and this thing let's go for fragment and view model and let's do next. Yes, main activity, that's more than enough. What are we gonna do in this one is that we're gonna make a to-do list and which will have one title and one description. And the to-do list will be we can add into to-do list and yet it can fetch from the network. So we will first create a room database. We will create entities, DAOs and databases, and then we'll create a repository. And in repository which will act as a medium between the network data which we are pulling from the database as well as the in-app data which is already stored in the database. So this is very useful in the cases like where there's no internet connectivity and you want to load some data, but yet you need to have the internet access. So in that case, the data which you have previously loaded and you want to see it in no internet zone or with no internet connectivity, as you can see in WhatsApp. So for that you have to save it in the database, and to update it live once you have the you can say the internet connection. Once you have the internet connection, you can update the repository and you can fill in the data. So there are a couple of things which we have to add into the Gradle files. So I have it over here. I will be pasting all these information, all this information in the description. And let's start with it. Let's open the Gradle files first. App app On the app level, we'll have a room component from. We'll copy all these things and we're gonna paste it over here. So I'll explain you. This is for room database connectivity. This is for lifecycle components to have the view model and everything. And this is for Kotlin async functions. And again, we have to have this thing at the top and apply plugin kotlin-kapt. KAPT is very essential because we are using it over here. And if it would be Java, if you would be using Java, then it would be something Android um, annotation or something like that. I don't remember for Java. It's been quite long. And make sure to use Kotlin version 1.3 or higher. And the Gradle versions can be fine. I mean, Gradle version is not an issue. But let's update it to the latest one. And let's sync now. So I have already all these things are already downloaded, I guess. So it won't take much time for my Gradle to configure all these things. But in your case, it might take up to 3 or 4 minutes or maybe more according to your internet speed. And so let's create a class. I don't know if it's possible using that. Let's wait for it. Let's wait for it. It's indexing. So Java. Let's create a class, Kotlin class. Let's name it. Name it just to do. And over here we have to just start with the entity. First we will be creating the entities of it, and after creating the entity we will be creating DOA, and then DOA, then we will be working with the databases. So for the entity, we just have to write @entity. I'll fast forward it so that I can explain to you later once the entity is completed. Mhm. So entity is completed. So in entity, we will just add the annotation with the at the rate entity and then table name, which I have taken to do underscore table, and then we'll create a data class. And in data class, we will obviously have one primary key. You should always have one primary key, and that will be auto generated is equals to true, where id long whatever it is, and column info title, and which will be string description again string, and we have added a constructor which will be helping us with the getters and setters. If it would be Java, then we have to set getters and setters. But in the case of Kotlin, just a matter of couple of lines, as you can see. Now we'll be creating a DAO interface. So let's create it. It's basically, as I've told you in my previous video, it's basically the query part where we write the queries of all these things. So to do DAO. So as you can see over here, I have used live data. Then in live data type is list and the list type is to do. So instead of just returning the list as list of to do, we are returning live data list of to dos. So yes, we have created it, and I've just created two things. One is to see to select all the table and all the information from the table, and one is to insert. So in real life scenario, we will be having many other queries, but just an example to show you what can be the basic of how to create a repository and syncing with the network when we have it. So now we are creating the database. So entities would be to do class, and uh, and the version of it shall be one because it's one. So it's the first one. So it's gonna be abstract class, which will be to do database, and it will inherit room database. So now abstract function to do DAO is equals is of type to do DAO. So companion objects is just like static methods which we call in Java, and I'm gonna make a couple of things like just one variable though, private var instance of type to do database, which will be null, and now getting the instance, we'll create one function to get the instance. We will need to do database. So now we have to get the context, which can be as context. So yes, we have created the database, and as you can see, we annotate with entities to do class, and entities which we refer to over here, and the version is 1, and abstract class to do, which will extend room database, and in the abstract function we'll have to do DAO, so that we can call all these methods which are over here, and then a companion object which is, we can say, static as of Java, if we say in Java, and then we have two things over here. We have one variable instance, and the second function is to get instance, and we will get the instance of the database, and now we will be creating a repository class for the to do repo to do we can say to do repo. So in this case, we will have a couple of things which will be related to the basic, you can say, I mean, which will be related to offline and as well as online things. So as of now, in this part, I will be just explaining you the offline part of it. Then in the next part, I will be explaining you with the online part of it. So let's code it down as soon as possible. So as of now, as you can see, I have just created two variables, which is to do DAO, just to refer this all the queries which we have, and the second one is to get the live data from the to do DAO, which is over here. We'll be querying this. So as you can see in the init function, init is just like constructor of this class, and we have created val db, and we have got the instance, and to do is equal to do DAO is equals to this, and we are getting all the data in the all to do part. And now we will just create the getting part and the inserting part. So now comes the insert part, and insert part we are using global scope. I don't know you guys have heard of it or not, but Kotlin has released its coroutines. So that's why I'm using coroutines, and it's actually new. It's a 1.3. It has been released in a stable version. So I'm just using global scope.async. I don't know if it's the best solution or there's some better solution for it. So please do let me know in comments if there's some better solution for it or not. And I guess I have some error over here. And yes, over here I should have written room.databaseBuilder, but instead I've written something else. So let's change it to room.databaseBuilder. I think yeah, and that is gone now. So now in the A, because all the um, operations are done in the asynchronous task, async part of it. So we can have it. So that's why we are inserting the data in the async part. So let's insert the data. We can do to do So yes, after this I have explained up till this part. So these two functions just are just like the getters to get all the to do. We'll be returning all to dos which we are getting from here, and then again this is to insert the data, and this is a repository. Why it is being made, so that over here we can have the internet connection. Once we have internet, then we can get all the data which is stored in the database, or maybe which is lined up in the pipeline to be delivered to us. And I'll explain you in the next part. That's why we have created to-do repo. Now let's call this to-do repo in the main view model. And main view, don't get confused between main fragment and main view model. We need to code in main view model. So there will be two things. One will be to-do repository and all to-dos. Yes, sorry. So I have made this thing private. You don't have to make it private. Let's keep it normal. And yes, so we have it. So up till now, we have created two things: to do repo. We are referencing the class which we have created in over here, the repository, and all to do is getting all the data over here. And now we'll just again create the return for all these things, and we don't need all to dos. What we can do instead of this thing, what we can do, we can just say func get all to do, and over here we can just give back the live data list of to do, and which can be null, and so we're gonna return to do repo get all to dos. And one more thing, fun insert to do to do to do repo insert to do. So now we can jump back to main fragment on view created to call this thing, and after the super we can code down everything. View model dot initialize this at the rate fragment and the context. Yes, we have to do activity and application context. Yes, and we can just put yes that there is. So now we can do in the initialized byte, as you can see that we have passed the context to it so that it can fetch the data and get everything beforehand. And now we can set a observer. Observer is basically for checking the view model, sorry, checking the live data if there's any change or not in it. So it's a get all to do dot observe, and in observe there are two things which are passed. One is who is the owner of it, this, and the other thing is observe class itself. So we can observe, and we have to tell it of which data type it is. So we can say list, which is better to do, and then over here we can so before that let's create a basic UI for it. We can have all these things. I would say that you should give naming conventions properly because it helps you out in long run. Even if you're making small projects or whatever projects, because once an interview will check your code, he will definitely check all these things that if the code is indented or the naming convention is good or not. Um, and if you go to a layman, what he do is he basically checks the UI of it, and but if the person is technical, then he's definitely gonna check out what the main technical parts which are of a code basically. So we can just add a list view over here, and let's do the constraints very quickly of it as well. Let's do it match parent and match parent, both the things, and we can call it to do list. So let's quickly create add button, set on click listener, and well title title. Let's check what I have given. I must have given something wrong name over there. It's its name, okay. Let's make it title e2, and let's call it title over here. And I know I have given into name instead of the hint that part, but it's okay. So text to string, trim it, and let's check if title is empty, then return and then it return. Similarly, we can do for description desc. Let's do it. Let's go for short.com. Text to string trim. Again, let's go for it. Desc. Well, to do null in it. Basically, null in it is the ID part. So it's auto generated. So we are keeping it null, and then we can do view model dot insert to do. And for the list, we have to create the adapter. Well, adapter and object dot array. So you guys must be having the array adapter thing, but it's basically it says it's depreciated. I don't know. I think so it should be working fine. One type argument expected for class. Okay, to do context fine activity application context. Yes, it's working fine. So in it we can have the get view. So if I override methods, get view. Well, Yes. So as you can see, we have created an adapter with, let me just take it off, adapter, array adapter of to do type and main fragment activity application context. Then we have passed the set list item 2 and android text 1, and it is basically the mutable list, and but it's okay. I don't think it will cause any problem. Let's It's not causing any problem as of now, but let's see. If it's a problem, then we can change it to whatever it is asking for. So we'll set the adapter to adapter. Yes, so let's build the app and run it. Let's hope for the best. And okay, NXS 26. So it has stopped. Let's check what's the problem. Okay, late init property view model has not been initialized. Okay, so yeah, so we have to let's call it over here instead of there, and let's run our app again. So as we can see, our app is running, and title, and we can say description, DESC. Let's hope for the best. Yes, as you can see, the moment I added it, it just appeared on the screen. So we can go for title space title TT T, and we can say description D. So as you can see, it is actually updating in real life. We have not created any scenario for it, and I hope you liked the video. And I am sorry if it's long, but if there's any problem, then do let me know. Thank you so much for your love and support. Please do like and subscribe the video and subscribe the channel. It really motivates me to make new videos. And if you have any requests, then do let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much.